Now the next thing we're going to do is ask a question. Did Harry, we're going to use the capital H in this particular case, say something? So we're going to have that in a question form, and we're going to have this as a formula. So let's just change this to a formula, very easy. We put an equal sign at the beginning and then quote marks, so double quotation marks, speech marks at the beginning and at the end. So did Harry say something? However, this something is not going to be part of this string literal. This something is going to be in cell F6. So that if F6 changes, then F7 can change. So can you change this formula so that instead of the word something, it's a reference to cell F6? Right, hopefully you've just done that, and we take out the something and we put an ampersand and F6 and an ampersand again, and then open the quotation marks. So we have two text literals here. Did Harry say, and then a question mark at the end, and then we have a reference to cell F6. So did Harry say something? And if you're using concat, then again, did Harry say, and then end the first text literal, and then a comma, F6, and then another text literal, all separated by commas. But I'm going to concentrate more on the ampersand version as we develop this just a bit more. But you can use concat and you can see the differences between the two. Now, I will now want you to change this so that something is in single quotation marks. So, did Harry say something? Now, I don't want you to do that by changing the contents of F6. I want you to change the two text literals so that they have these single quotation marks. So pause the video and give this a go. Well, hopefully not too difficult. It's just putting a single quotation mark before the speech marks and another one before the question mark. So did Harry say something? So if I change the something to what's my name, then we have did Harry say what's my name, for instance. Now here comes the really difficult bit, and I do not expect you to get this unless you already know the answer. Can we change this to did Harry say, and in speech marks, something? However, give it a go, pause the video, give it a go, and then we'll see what the problem is. So the problem may be that you changed this little single apostrophe to speech marks like that, and another one like that. Let's see what happens if you do that. It says, did Harry say and F6 and question mark? What's happening here? Well, the problem is the computer is using the speech mark to say this is the start of text. We can't use it directly to say, and within the text we have a quotation, we have a speech mark. Because what this does is it closes the text, and there's my text literal, and then reopens it again. So there is my next text literal, and there's my last text literal. But hang on, there's something added in. There are actually quotations, some speech marks there. And so what the computer is doing is when you close and open immediately your text literal, the computer is saying, I think you mean speech marks. So, but just the one pair. So did Harry say text literal, speech mark, still part of the text literal, and F6, another speech mark, still part of the text literal, and then a question. So that's why we have this as an answer. So if two speech marks like that within a text literal means a single speech mark, what can we do? Well, If we have wanting to have this as a text literal, then we need to actually close it. So did Harry say one quotation mark, one which are translated into a single speech mark. So did Harry say something? Is this getting confusing? I personally think it's getting there. So let's get rid of all of these double speech marks and we go back to our did Harry say something. Now, is there another way of using our formula to get these speech marks? Well, let's put speech marks here in F5. So we could say, did Harry say, and F5 and F6 and another F5 for another speech mark. So that would work. We have did Harry say, speech marks, whatever we've got in F6 at the moment, something, and then speech marks again. But the problem with that is it relies on a cell. So we need another way of expressing speech marks without having to literally type in lots of speech marks. And we can do that using this formula, CHAR. So this is the new formula for this particular video. What CHAR does, it goes into the character map. So let's go into our start menu and put in character map. So if you have got a Windows 7 machine, it will be in accessories. And these are all of the characters that are in the what's called the ASCII character set, and then it goes on to the rest of the Unicode set. So let's see what all of this means when looking at the character map. The ASCII set, character set, is a series of characters from really 0 to 255. So 256 characters. However, the first 30 of them are non-printing. And the reason for that, for instance, we have a character which is a carriage return, a character which is a tab. So if I was to look at this one, this is character number 33. I know it says 21 underneath, but that's in hexadecimal. It's 33. Character number 32 is a space. This one is character number 34. And so on. So we have character number 48 as a 0 and character number 65 as an uppercase A, character number 97 as a lowercase a. And all of these can be useful. However, let's just concentrate on the speech marks. That is character number 34. So let's now substitute in our code, instead of these F5s, we're looking for char, open bracket, 34. So now we're no longer relying on F5 to be there. So you can see that the computer has interpreted char 34 as these speech marks. And it can make our life so much easier. So let's just go into a new sheet and just have a look at 32, 33, and we'll just go all the way down to 255. And we're going to get the code for each of these, so or the actual character. So char of this. So 32, as I said, is a non-printing space, but it separates out two words. 33 is the exclamation. 34, as I've said, is speech. Single apostrophe is 39, and so forth. So what these characters represent is the majority of the characters which are used in West European languages. So you can see now we've got some characters with an umlaut or other accents. Now, this is not, of course, all of the characters that exist in the entire universe of languages. For instance, the Japanese have got one of their alphabets called kana. There were 1920 kana, also kanji, that you have to learn before leaving school to get your graduation certificate. So if I try to have the code of 256, it doesn't work. The code section the ASCII section goes from 0 to 255. If you want to go beyond that, then you can put the word uni at the front. So this is the UniCHAR of 256. So this is when we go into the Unicode language, and it runs and runs and runs, theoretically, to 65,535. So let's just type that in. I'm not sure whether there is one for 200 for that long. No, there isn't. So let's just go back. So we can see there are various characters which are available up to a certain point. So it's in the 60,000s. Now, if you want to go backwards, so you have a character and you want to know the code, then you just type in equals code. Now, if you've got a longer string, code will just give you the code of the first letter. So the code of an American in Paris, which starts with letter A, will be the same as the code of just that letter A. And again, when we get to the Unicode section, that won't work. So let's make this that symbol. Computer gives me a completely incorrect answer, 63 as you see. If I change that to Unicode, then we get the right answer. So out of all of these, the one that I use the most is character number 34. The one I use the second most is character number 10. And remember I said that 0 to 31 are non-printing characters, and character 10 is a non-printing character. But let's see how we can use character 10 in our example. So did Harry say something? And I can then say, yes, he did. So let's just expand that, copy it down here and say, I'm going to have another text literal. I'm just going to put a space in for the moment and then, yes, he did. So I'm going to just expand this and I'll wrap text so you can see nothing is untowards at the moment. If I change this space, which is, just as a reminder, character 32, if I change this space to character number 10 with wrap text on, notice what happens. It disappears. No, it doesn't. It's actually just hidden because if I expand this row height, we now have yes he did on a separate line. So character 10 is called new line or line feed. Now you may also hear about character 13, that's called a carriage return, but in here in Excel, carriage 13 doesn't really do anything. There are some people that say that properly to get a carriage return line feed, you need both characters 13 and 10. I generally skip character 13 unless I've got a very specific need. There are other things that are useful elsewhere, like character 9 is a tab, but that doesn't seem to do anything in Excel. So it's basically character 10, which I use second most, in addition to character 34. So in this video, we've had a look at the difficulties of starting a text literal with an apostrophe. You may have to have 2 apostrophes to do that, and how you can get speech marks into formulas, into text literals. So character 34 for speech marks and character 10 for line feed. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. And if you did, please like it. And also, why not subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell so you get notified of any new videos.